I don't have an agenda. Are we doing Fello? Okay. The next group, Chad Priest, come on up. So guys, I have the privilege of introducing you to a couple guys that I would say have become friends over the past 6 months. As you guys know, there are a lot of different ways to work your business, right? As we talk in our business about buckets or pillars. We talk about lead generation, geographic farming. I mean, you name it. There are a lot of different ways to generate opportunities in your business. And we will tell you all day, every day, that the best way to generate opportunity in your business is to work your sphere of influence, right? Your relationships. And so when I met these guys and found a company, a technology company, that was fully devoted to having better information about the people that matter most, and that is our sphere of influence, I kind of jumped all over this. And so I'm really excited for you guys to meet Chad Priest, and Brandon, right over there, waving his hand and recording his phone at the same time, is also with Fello. So I'm going to hand it over to these guys and let them explain why this is something that I would really, really, really encourage every one of you to learn more about. The more that we talk in environments like this, every speaker that comes up, I think, man, that they need to know about Fello. Man, that applies to Fello. So please pay attention. These guys are showing up.
Okay, hang on.
And they're going to work on the technology while we're doing it. Oh, okay. Okay.
Let's see if that works. Yay, nay? Oh, okay. That's perfect.
All right, so Chad, let her work on that, and I'll let you take. Oh, you got a mic.
Yeah, I got a mic. So
great.
So we're Fello. Our goal is to engage your existing database and uncover the listing opportunities that are sitting within it. I'm sure everyone in here, I usually do the redundant, who wants more listings? I think everybody in here wants more listings, right? The thing I want to talk about today, though, I spoke with the group yesterday. We did kind of a demo through the platform. Today, I just want to talk to you about concepts and approaches that you can do with or without our platform to really help you guys get more listings in your business. Not coming to buy Fello, but what can you do right here now today to get more listings out of your pipeline? There we go. We're in business now. Let's see if we're working. Here we go. And really, it's starting with this concept of, do you own or rent your business? And what I mean by that is, we've become addicted in this industry, and I say that we because I was an agent for 10 years also, to buying leads, right? And we're kind of beholden to these lead providers to where, in essence, if they were to shut that funnel off for many of us, our business might be in trouble. So what I want to do is take an approach today to say, how can we take the most valuable asset in your business, which is your database, and build a listings-based business out of that without relying on any of these lead providers. And just, again, you guys know this, you're experienced agents, but why do we tend to gravitate more towards buyers? Well, number one, the lead providers are 99% of those lead providers are giving us buyer leads, right? But if you look at it from a scalability standpoint, buyers take a lot more time, right? I mentioned yesterday, like I could have worked 10 listings at one time as a solo agent, but 10 buyers, I'd go crazy, right? Driving around and all that kind of stuff. And if you really take an inventory of what you're making per hour, you're making a lot more money per hour working with those seller clients, right? We took an inventory, so Ryan Young is our co-founder. Ryan runs the largest real estate team in the state of Ohio. And we looked and said, okay, what are the best ROI lead sources for his entire business? And he's buying lead sources from every different direction. And it was the yard signs and the database. That was actually the top two, right? Those are two things you guys have right now in your tool chest that you can utilize. And the more of those listings you get, the more your yard signs are getting. And we call this our listings flywheel. So again, at the top here, let me get my little fancy laser pointer here. You've got your database. As we nurture that database, which we do at Fello, we're going to nurture that database and then convert those opportunities into listings. The more listings you get, the more leads you're going to get, right? So that's, again, why these listings are so much more important. The NAR settlement. You guys did a great job talking through the whole buyer agency, thing. Now it's a lot more complicated than it used to be. Well, the benefit with listings is you're in the driver's seat, right? You've got a little bit more control over that situation. So it's just a little bit less tape you got to jump through there. And then again, just going through why are we focused so much more focused on buyer leads and working buyers is, it's a quicker win. You get that buyer that calls you and they want to go out and look at houses and they're ready to make a decision versus a seller that, maybe they're looking to sell in the spring, but the conversation's starting now in the fall, and you've got to stay in touch and follow up with those people to get to the finish line when you list their property in the fall. And that's where things like Fello come into play, where we can stay in touch with those clients. So one thing that we found at Fello was got all this data that we pull up, and one of the key data points we have is MLS data. And what we found was, and I think that question's coming up here. If you were here yesterday, don't answer. But of the contacts you guys all have in your database right now, how many of those, what on a percentage basis, do you think will list over the next 12 months? What percentage would you guess? Anybody? 10%? 2? 5? 5's the number, right? So if you just think about the fact that if you've got 1,000 contacts in your database right now, there are 50 people for every 1,000 in your database that are going to list their home over the next 12 months. And the question for you is, who are they going to list with? Because just because they're in your database, you've all seen it before, there's no worse pain than going onto Facebook and seeing some buyer you worked with 3 years ago listed their property with an agent down the street, right? But knowing that database, there's gold in your database right now. And that's where at Fello, where we're going to come in and work those opportunities for you. The other thing that we found was 80% of any agent's database that we look at on average are composed of buyer leads that don't have a property address associated with them. But I think you'd all agree that every contact in your database either owns or rents a home. So why not try to market to your entire database from a seller perspective? So instead of taking that buyer lead that you had from 36 months ago and sending property drips to them that are irrelevant to them at this point, right? Let's start marketing them from a seller perspective. Maybe that buyer lead that you had 3 years ago transacted with another agent, but now you've got the opportunity to list their property because suddenly they need to list that home and you're back in front of them again. And I'll show you how we do that. Couple things, and I'm going to get to some tips that I want to give you specifically that you can implement without Fello. But one thing we do at Fello is we're going to nurture your database, and through that nurture process, we're actually going to identify who those homeowners are within your database, even if you don't have a property address for them. We have organic emails that go out to them on a regular basis, and then we also offer data enrichment services where we actually go out with a bunch of consumer data services we have, and I can take an email address and match it with a property address for you. So we start to fill in those gaps in your database so you can take these old buyer opportunities and turn them into listing opportunities. So a few things that I would recommend for you guys. One is you need to have seller-based messaging on everything you've got going out. Your signature line, your mailers, your open house material, anything you're doing, your yard signs. Some of our agents, and again, you don't have to have Fello to do this, but a lot of the agents that utilize our platform, what they're doing is they've got a separate QR code next to the for sale sign. You could incorporate it into your for sale sign as well. That takes those people who scan to a landing page where they can input their information about their property. If you're using KV Core, you can do some of these things with KV Core even. You don't have to have Fello. But what that enables people to do is they're driving through the neighborhood, you're getting those listings, they're scanning that QR code, getting their value, you're getting their information, now you can follow up with them. We had a client that had an office facing, do you guys have Chick-fil-A here? Yeah? Okay, Chick-fil-A is good stuff. That's God's chicken right there, Chick-fil-A. So we had a client that their office faced a Chick-fil-A drive-thru. They had a QR code blown up and put on the side of their building. So as people are in that Chick-fil-A drive-thru, because you know that thing gets backed up, they're scanning for home values, right? But just the idea that any home value messaging needs to be a part of everything you send out, even if you're corresponding with a buyer, part of your signature should be, what's my home worth, right? And you've got some of those tools in KV Core already. So, a couple other things I want to highlight real quick, and I didn't start my, if I get running long, you guys flag me down here. I'm going to try to move quick. Staying in touch with your database is key. Again, you can do some of this stuff through KV Core, but making sure that you're in front of those contacts on a regular basis with seller messaging. So you can set some of those drips up in KV Core. We have automated plans that run in Fello. Average consumer looks at an email for 9 seconds before they click or close. 9 seconds. The average consumer can digest 50 words in 9 seconds. So if you are sending this type of messaging out, make it short and simple. You want to create engagement. You're not trying to write a story to them. Just create some of that engagement. The other thing too is to look at the way your database is segmented. So like within Fello, I can take your database and we can look at what their interest rates are. We pull in their interest rate data, their equity position in their home, coupling that with MLS data. How long has it been since they last sold? Have they tried to list with another agent? It didn't sell. Those types of things. But as you're marketing to your contacts, marketing to someone in your database that is in close to a negative equity position, the tone of that message needs to be a bit different than maybe someone who's sitting on 500 grand in equity, right? That's a different message, right? So being aware of who you're reaching out to within your database, the tone of that message that you're sending them, and again, segmenting that database. You can come by, we can show you some different ways that you can segment your database with Fello, but even again with KV Core, as you guys use the different ways that you can tag and segment your database, utilize those things to, message different segments appropriately. Let me skip through here. A couple things I want to point out. I'm going to go back to this, but I want to highlight this real quick. The biggest mistake that I see agents make is when I go to your homepage for your website, what do I see? And most of the time, I see a way to start a home search. And what we found is that it's very rare that a buyer is going to go to your homepage and start that home search, right? We always say buyers are searching for homes, but sellers are searching for agents. So a buyer is going to land on your website, but probably through a property, search they did on Google or something like that, right? But it's much more likely that a homeowner who's researching you as someone they might list with to go to your homepage. So when I go to your homepage, is there seller messaging front and center that I can't miss? So make sure when you look at your homepage for your website that you've got that messaging right in play. Obviously at Fello, I'll plug that real quick. We've got those where we'll actually integrate with your KV Core site, or if you've got other platforms, we integrate with those where we can get different widgets and calls to action embedded on your website. But again, even with KV Core as you have it now, you can customize the tabs and things that you've got on your KV Core site, so do that as well. But that's a big one. The other thing is, just as a side tip, if you guys don't have your Google profile set up, like you need to go do that today. That is a huge opportunity for you. You don't have to spend money, just get it set up. But your Google presence, make sure that as you're getting those closings with those clients, get them to review you on Google. Those are huge. Those are lots of traffic to you. Couple other things, just some KPIs just to kind of think through for you guys. What percentage of your database is homeowners? Take a look at that, and how can you reach that? How can you identify, one thing we would do is, like, let's say you've got maybe in Charleston where I'm from, we had Boeing's a big industry in our well, Boeing's probably a sore subject, but but when they open like a new plant, texting everybody in your database, like if maybe they live in proximity to that or something big that's happened in your market, how would you like to know how the new plant that Boeing's building in the area is going to impact your home value? Would you like me to send you an updated CMA? Just blast that text to your whole database. See how many people come back. Yeah, I'd love to know how that's going to help, what that's going to do to impact the value of my property. How many seller leads are you generating a month? Again, big way to do that is through open houses. You guys know the nosy neighbors that are coming through. We give you some tools at Fello that as they come through, you can get them registered and capture those opportunities. I'm going to skip through some of these in the interest of time. 7 steps to take immediately. Step up your profile your profile and website with seller messaging, just like we talked about, right? Get those seller marketing assets everywhere. Build that database. I talk to so many agents. I talk to agents that have been in the business for 20 years, and they're they're still working off of a notebook and a spreadsheet. I know y'all are in here, right? Get those into KV Core, or find a CRM that you're going to use. If you don't like KV Core, find something you like, but get those contacts in there and work them. Automate that messaging. Again, we can show you some of that stuff we do at Fello, but you can do that on your own. Segment that messaging and track all your metrics and really get to building the seller-based business. So I'll leave you with a couple quick things. 5% of your database is going to list over the next 12 months. If you want them to list with you, we can help with that. We generate about 4 to 6 hand raises every month from sellers that want you to call them for every 1,000 contacts that you have with our platform. So 4 to 6 of those conversations every month. If you'd like to set up a demo with us, you can scan that QR code. I know most of you have dropped your card at our booth, but we're giving away a cooler here later today as well if you want to drop your card in there. But we'd love to learn more about your business, your database, show you what we can do at Fello to get you more listings 2024, 2025. So thank you guys. Appreciate
Chad,
it.
thank you very much, man. Good job. So we talked about it yesterday, guys. Oops, I'll get it. We talked about it yesterday. For those of you that have your database set up well, what you can expect is that you have the ability with an organized database to say, show me everybody in my database that I consider to be an A client, right? I mean, that's good. If you're organized that well to be able to narrow it down to your A's, that's a pretty advanced level of database organization in the realtor community. What Fello can help you do is say things like, show me everybody in my database who has been in their home more than 5 years, who has more than this percentage of equity in their home and has an interest rate above this, right? And in just a couple clicks, you can pull that type of data. It is a powerful, powerful tool. And then they can take that information and automatically begin a campaign that applies to it. And by the way, if your homeowner's home is worth more than $1 million, that campaign can automatically have more of a luxury look and feel to it. And if it's less than $1 million, it can have a non-luxury feel to it. And if you're a video person, someone whose home is, or someone whose interest rate is currently more than 6%, can automatically have a video of you talking about opportunities that come when in the market now that interest rates are in the 5s, right? So it can create this level of automation that I've just never seen before, okay? And these guys will help you get the whole thing set up, right? Do not allow the fact that, man, that seems big and confusing to distract you from this, because their onboarding team is fantastic and they can help you get all set up. So please take some time to meet with the guys at Fello. It is a conversation that will definitely be worth your while. So Brandon and Chad, you guys rock. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. And I'm assuming that for that little pitch I gave you, I get one of those Yeti coolers.
Whatever you want.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. You can send it right to my home. Okay.